everyone, kindly, including the soon-to-be newlywed, Gene O'Connell.
I'm doing it again. I'm having my mind.
Well, someone got careless and you got lucky, Gene. That's all I could say. Okay, this is a caucus of the Jersey City Municipal Council. Today is Monday, the 25th day of September. It's only about 90 degrees outside. The time is 5:39. Our scheduled start was 5:30 p.m. We have council members Gajewski, Gadsden, Baggiano, Yun, and Waterman here. Presently not in the room are council members Osborne, Robinson, Rivera, and Lavara. They'll be marked present when they arrive. Take it away, Council President.
Okay, Brian, you're first up.
Okay.
What do you got, Brian?
Number 10W.
10W is in the package that I just gave you, council members. It was included in the agenda, but it grew legs and it walked out of about 4 different offices and had to be reprinted today. It's a resolution authorizing a professional services contract to Hacks Engineers, Architects, and Land Surveyors in connection with the engineering, design, and construction administration services for 394 Central Avenue, new fire escape and masonry repairs.
Obviously, we solicited proposals, and we're going with the lowest responsible respondent that we see. And we'd like to proceed as soon as possible because of some of the weather conditions with the old masonry that need to be tightened up since we just finished the interior.
Any questions? No.
So when do you Let's just ask him.
You're not getting that resolution, Liz.
When?
When?
When they're going to study this?
Yeah, when we hire them, we have to, yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's presented at the end of the meeting, depending on how it goes.
All right, good, let's go. I don't know what it is, but.
Council, something going on here.
Joanne has a big smile, so I don't know what that means, or,
Andrew, what brings you here, sir? Oh my God.
Good evening, everyone. I have 2 ordinances. I'll start with 3A. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. 3A and 3B. VISCHIO, right?
Correct.
Good. 3A?
Yes, sir. 3A, these 2 items are very routine. 3A is designating 2 intersections as all-way stop control. The first is Grove and Mercer, right outside our front door, and Jersey Avenue and Mercer Street. The second item, oh, I'm sorry. Any questions on those 2? Second item is adding Mountain Road to Zone 2 residential parking in the Heights. Mountain Road doesn't have enough width to fit parking. This action would just allow the people who are residents of Mountain Road to get a Zone 2 permit.
Shouldn't like waive the 20 days waiting period? Because, this one.
That can be included in the next council meeting.
Right.
As second reading.
Is that something that our office prepares or?
I can take care of it.
Okay.
I'll take care of it for the next meeting. Kendall, questions?
Richie, okay?
Oh, Joyce.
Yeah, over here. Okay, everything, you know. No changes.
I just wanted to remind her, Mountain Road is in Ward C, not D.
Joanne, I didn't say anything.
10I is a resolution creating a loading zone on Ocean Avenue. This is for a new, the Haka I guess it's a sort of a distribution center. Any questions on that item? This is 10I.
The email, it said 352 Garfield Avenue, which is the cemetery. So I was wondering why we were getting a loading zone at the cemetery. So
Which item had Garfield Avenue?
you had, there's both, it says Garfield in here, and then I looked up, it says.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Ocean.
Garfield might have been a
It's okay.
typo.
So I went by there today, and it's set back, it's a building that's set back.
Correct.
They need a loading zone 7 days a week for a building that's set back?
They're basically, they accept deliveries and they also ship themselves. And the intention is for larger 45, 50-foot tractor trailers to not pull into the site because they would be blocking Ocean Avenue, but just to park along their frontage and blocking their driveway, essentially.
Looked like a real big building. It looked more like it might have been an old garage.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the use is before, but they've essentially taken those two buildings, combined them, and then they have, they store goods and deliver to various grocers throughout the area. Can I move on to 10J? 10J is a resolution, the remaining three items that I have are just street closures, 10J, 10Q, and 10R. And those have all been filed with Cultural Affairs. Any questions?
Let's just say in the record, just say that they are Saddam Avenue for the Lafayette Neighborhood Oktoberfest on October 7th. Q is St. Paul's from Huron to Bevan, beginning noon and ending 4 p.m. on Saturday the 30th for the purpose of Stack for Senate St. Paul's Barbecue. And R, same purpose, but this is going to be right in Richie's backyard in Magnolia Avenue.
Whoa.
From Walnut to Chestnut.
A lot of people were saying, why is the street closing? Especially, it's a Friday night. People going to be allowed to get down to their homes? I mean, nobody in the neighborhood, I didn't even know about this till I picked up the packet Thursday night. Before they do stuff like this, they should notify the people in the neighborhood.
Councilman, if anything, traffic engineering sends these things out a week ahead of time to everyone.
On the neighborhood?
Not the neighbor, to the councilman.
I just got it Thursday night when I picked up the packet. And at the festival, it got out because when I got the packet, I mentioned it to one person who went right down, once again, the Waldo area and stuff, But they should notify the people in the neighborhood by letter telling them, because are they gonna put up no parking for both sides of the street? Well, let me tell you something, no. There's no parking around our neighborhood now, you can't find a parking space anyplace, and they're gonna come in on a Friday night and take up, it's...
See, I got a little confused, Andrew, probably you know better than anybody
It has
else.
nothing to do with stack.
No, it's nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that. People just want to know when their streets are going to be closed, especially in that area right now. We're going through a lot of problems there, which Andrew knows about. And people are right now really ticked off with a lot of things going on in the area.
Okay.
Could you reach out to
Why did,
the neighborhood or just something?
Yeah,
Could
has
you
the
do that?
senator been advertising
Right.
this barbecue at all to the community?
let me ask you a few things before we
So-
go there forward. Sure. We support every block parties, but that's the way we put in the community together, so we got no objection. But this one seems like, I don't know what is it for that, it's like a block party, right?
Right, barbecue.
Barbecue block party. Then, when you see that the application say clear, fire department say, just for this approval, no open frame. And you say gonna be barbecue party, how we gonna do barbecue without open frame? I scratch my head. So number one. Number two, in order to have the block party, whoever apply for the permit application have to be person who live in that area, that block. So our ordinance is very clear that
There's a difference between a block party and a street closure for a special event. Block parties have a separate application through Cultural Affairs, and it requires a majority of signatures of the residents of the blocks. They didn't go through that process. They didn't go through a block party process, which is why I'm here today, and we have it as a resolution.
that's very good. One is a block party. We have to follow rules regulation, like 10 different rules regulation. If we just close the street, you don't require nothing. And this is actually block party.
We're here before you, which is, I think, considerable.
They still, in fact, I don't know if you remember, but the previous Cultural Affairs Director came many times to round out a process that we all agreed to. It's pretty arduous, and at the time, people were upset about how arduous it was. But if you're an organization, you can apply for an event permit, and there's an event permit process. Thank you. That has to be followed. It does require you to show, to explain what your event is, show exactly what you want. Then it's vetted through all the relevant departments, and they sign off on it. And then, at that point, if street closure is part of it, they have to go through the appropriate people at traffic and engineering and public safety. And then, to get the closure, it has to come to this body, and this body has to vote and approve the closure or not. And it's fully within your prerogative, Councilman, to vote no and not approve the closure, because that's why they have to come to get your permission.
One is, I see that the city ordinance 17-004, section is 296-72. You know, what they say that if you're on a street closing, you gotta have to 5 days notice. But the other page, if you're on a street closing, purpose, the way you explain, they must have the 30 days before the scheduled date of the temporary street closing. So one say 5 days, the other say 30 days. I mean, you don't understand. I love the, who's it, what kind of fest, Oktoberfest, whatever they call? I don't know what it is, but then most of the people are gonna be block party. Instead of they apply for block party application, they're gonna ask a street closing. Then they have no rules and regulations followed. They can do open frame cooking, they have no fire inspector, but minute they say block party, fire inspector have show, health inspector show up, then what kind of people are going to apply for the block party? Everybody going to apply for the street closing. So this is what I try to say that it's a contract itself. Block party, you say 12 to 6 p.m. Street closing, 10 a.m. to midnight. Come on. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. So, and even street closing, they have to have $1 million and $2 million insurance, liability insurance. Is there?
Councilman, to just be clear.
Yeah.
As I explained to you before, if you are looking to do a certain type of event and you are an entity that satisfies our requirements, a nonprofit, blah, 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 then you can apply to Cultural Affairs to do that event. And then they vet the event. And then based on that vetting, if it's appropriate, then they'll move it forward for signatures for all the key departments. If that event includes a street closing, then it has to go to the appropriate department, traffic engineering and public safety, for them to review. And if they agree with the street closing, then it gets sent to this body for you guys to approve the street closing. If you are a resident on a street, you're not going to want to go through that process just for your block party. There are also all kinds of requirements around that type of event that are not detailed here because this is just for the street closing. But they have to have insurance, they may have to have liquor licenses. There's a lot of things that go into planning this type of event, and Cultural Affairs would only recommend the event if they thought it was adding value and culture to the community. So, but if your issue is that you think that this process should be more arduous, that's fine. You should reach out to Cultural Affairs and make that recommendation.
If you think the vetting was improper for the street closure, that's fine. This is the time to discuss it. You got the people here. They're recommending to us to move forward with the street closing. If you don't want to move forward with the street closing, that is fine. But that's why they come to this body.
The traffic engineer department to where the, so Councilman Richie Bojani mentioned today, it's a street closing is a major issue because no parking, you know what I'm saying? So those kind of, let's say, instead of take a block party, you just want to take a simple street closing. At least they should have a consent from the people living there, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I understand that part of it, you know what I'm saying? If we say block, all blocks say, well, we all happy with the street closing, then what can we do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, all I'm saying, Andrew, is that if they're gonna do something like this, they should notify the people in the community. I mean, nobody knows anything about it. If I hadn't picked up the papers till today, let's say, I wouldn't know anything about it. And it's wrong. And as I said, we have enough issues going on in the neighborhood right now, which you know, Jeremy, and people, you know. But, hey, look, I'm gonna vote for it. Let, you know, I hope they have a good affair, but it's wrong that they don't contact the people in the neighborhood.
I will contact Cultural Affairs as soon as I leave, and they'll take action on that.
So just to make sure that they're gonna have a barbecue, but approve the no open frame, then if they do barbecue, then this whole application was denied by the department. What is this one?
Well, what you need to do before it gets to us, it has to go through the process of Culture Affairs, and they have to approve all those departments before it comes to us. So if it came to us, they have to approve it, okay?
Why don't we call the Culture Fair director, ask him this Wednesday, come on, answer my question, so we can make this meeting shorter.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Okay, good.
It'll just make Wednesday. Resolution's going down the drain.
Oh, God. I told you, I'm gonna ask you tomorrow. Wednesday. Oh, God.
Okay.
Yes.
10S as in slow. It's a resolution of the Municipal Council amending the fiscal year 2016 annual action plan to reprogram CDBG funds.
What is the item numbers?
S. Thank you.
Go ahead and explain.
So this resolution is, as it reads, it's a reprogramming reso of prior, I would say, backlog CDBG funds. I believe in the resolution you may have gotten a letter that was sent to my office in March 7th in regards to our timeliness requirement. So when you administer CDBG block grant funding, you have to make sure that you're in compliance with timely expenditures, and what that means in layman's terms is that if we award someone a contract, they have to make sure that they're also spending the dollars within a given period in a timely manner. So that's the timeliness test. So earlier this year, the city was not in compliance in regards to its expenditure ratio. So the city, my office had to develop what was called a workout plan. We developed a workout plan, submitted it over to HUD for prior approval and review. And so the resolution that you have here before you is really taking a backlog of funding from projects that the city had dating back from 2009 up until current, so that we can repurpose it to improvements of eligible activities in Ward A and F. So we are working on doing ADA compliance requirements in Ward A and F. And so if anyone has any questions, or it's just... We're good?
Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
All right.
Next.
Thank you.
Jasmine and Kate.
Jasmine.
Is it ordinance 3D? Jasmine and Kate. Is that Kate?
Lawrence?
Planner, city planner, for now.
That sounds so ominous.
You're here for what item?
I'm here, item 3.
3D.
3D.
The creation of the Office of Sustainability within the Department of Administration.
Sorry, I'm not sure what the protocol is.
You want to explain what?
Oh, okay,
the plan
great.
is?
Yes, so since I've been with the city of Jersey City, and way before my time as well, the city has been working on a number of sustainability initiatives. However, they've been sort of operating as a side projects out of the Division of Planning and then the Office of Innovation with the Year of Water. There's been continued feedback that it would be very important for the city to create its own Office of Sustainability so that initiatives such as energy improvements to city buildings, other efficiency initiatives, as well as composting and other sustainability initiatives would be given the weight that they deserve, and they wouldn't necessarily just become side projects that can be put off. So the idea is that the Office of Sustainability would be created under the Department of Business Administration. For now, it would be 2 people that would be within the office, and those 2 people would be working on a number of sustainability initiatives, taking the initiatives that have already been started by both planning and with the Office of Innovation and continuing those, as well as taking on next year's the Year of Energy, so a number of energy initiatives for the city to improve energy efficiency and reduce costs.
Is this going to the program for the $2 million from Bloomberg?
That program is going to be over.
That grant is expiring very soon. So this is kind of an offshoot of it, but it's an initiative that started with the innovation team that we're now running with within Department of Administration. We have a lot of divisions, like engineering's doing something with solar. Kate's been doing stuff over in planning. The I-team's been doing some stuff. But it's not centralized. So one of the tasks here is Kate's office would be the central point in coordinating all those efforts citywide and be the go-to person responsible for interacting with those divisions, making sure the reporting is getting done properly, making sure the stakeholders are being reached out to, and come up with a plan, a citywide plan, not just each division doing its own little thing. And Kate has experience with that from her former position up in the city of Albany, where this is what her main function was.
I was the sustainability coordinator there for 4 years, and when I came to the city of Jersey City, I was acting as the environmental planner. So my focus here has always been on environmental initiatives, and I've worked very closely with the Office of Sustainability for this, Office of Innovation for this past year. So.
So this new department is going to have a additional two people as staff.
Yes, well, yes.
The current, not new hires.
Yes, the other one would be Jasmine, who's right there.
Hire 8 or 9 people, and we said, what's going to happen when the $2 million is up?
Well, there is an obligation to keep what the innovation team started moving forward. It's not just a 3-year plan, then so we drop it and you take their money and run. You have to continue the initiatives that was started under the Bloomberg film through the grant, and this is one of the things we're starting with. We don't have to keep the entire team, but we have to show that we're committed to what we applied for, to the work that we're currently doing, and to continue doing moving forward.
I'd also like to stress that this was an idea to create an Office of Sustainability before the Office of Innovation. It's been kind of been kicking around for a while. There was work that Tanya Marione in the Office of Planning, or the Division of Planning, was working on for a number of years. There was work that has been worked on in the redevelopment agency around sustainability. Then there's the projects that have been going on under engineering as well as architecture. So there are a number of initiatives, and people have been talking about creating an Office of Sustainability, but then when the Office of Innovation started to work on sustainability as their initiative for this past year, they started putting the gears in motion to really make it into a reality. A number of cities across the country, all large cities that are the same size as Jersey City, pretty much have an Office of Sustainability. This is very much a current, a major initiative across the country.
And this is a certification for sustainability.
Yes.
Because I know I get
Continue to
emails from the state.
Which, by the way, that the newest application we put in, and we should be getting silver certification again when they finish up reviewing our application. So it would continue to be part of that. The idea is that this office would also pay for itself because there are a number of grants related to sustainability, especially energy efficiency, that we are not even targeting because like I said, it's been something that's been sort of on the back burner. And then there are a number of energy efficiency improvements that we can make so that we can continue to save money. The city buildings have not really had energy efficiency improvements ever, and at a minimum, we could save 20% on our energy bills. That's not including our lighting, though, because that's a separate initiative altogether.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you probably replace those two old air conditioners and save $10,000 a year. They're terrible. They can't. I mean, they can't be energy efficient.
So,
better idea, cut out the hot air in City Hall.
So join, make sure that I have no questions. I have no question, just I want to know. So innovation team is going to be what? What happens? After?
So as the grant winds down, you know, we are legally obligated in the conditions of accepting the grant to maintain a semblance of the I-team function. This is part one of it. Some of the I-team members have already, you know, resigned and moved on to other positions outside the city of Jersey City. And then, you know, we're going to consider looking at other initiatives and functions for the remaining members of the I-team within the city of Jersey City.
Great people work that department, you know, young, energized.
Yep.
They put up a lot of innovative idea. I don't know how much they accomplished, you know, whatnot, but there was a fresh air in the city. It was very good. But really, those kind of people already city like 3 years, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to lose those kind of quality and talented people from the city, you know what I'm saying? So I hope that some people continue work this department to provide some service to
Jasmine is with the Office of Innovation, so she'll be coming over to sustainability.
You know, Brian's going to be sticking around. We have a role. No, we were always obligated to maintain a function of the I-team. We couldn't just take the money, then say thanks, and then skip out. There was, for at least 1 year, there was a commitment that they remain on our budget.
Yeah, Brian was a city employee before.
But I hope not to below. Not to below. You know. That idea must have be innovative.
I'm here for 3C. Matt Ward.
I'm good, thanks. It's been a little while. I'm here on an amendment to a redevelopment plan, the Dixon Crucible redevelopment plan, which was adopted back in 1983, I believe. And it was a redevelopment plan that was designed to be redeveloped under one entity. So it instituted a gross units per acre. So it says there's only this many units that can be throughout this whole redevelopment plan based on the acreage of this redevelopment plan. And so that was fine because they thought it was going to be redeveloped under one entity. But what ended up happening is that there's 8 parcels that have diverse ownership that are independently owned or owned by a condo association that still exist. One of them is a vacant lot. And the developer came in with an application that would have been conforming if it wasn't a gross units per acre. And I gave them the bad news that this isn't permitted unless you go for a redevelopment plan amendment. So what they've done through working with city planning, also with coordination with Van Voorst Park Association, has come up with an amendment that creates a zone for just those 8 lots. Also, there's there's been, I've communicated the amendments and the progress with Candace. And essentially what we got was a meld of what the zoning already allowed and the historic zone, which is 4 stories. And that's what this amendment is. And so on this particular lot that this person is, this owns would be 4 units. And then for the other lots, we just went off the tax records to codify those units on those lots into this redevelopment plan. So we're trying to just tie up loose ends.
So, we have a set aside redevelopment plan, so like a 5, 6, like a abandoned building in the height, they moved to actually JCRI already. So I don't know what happened.
This, right, yeah, that's it's using the same term, but they're effectively completely different. Yeah, they're different. This is going to live within the Dixon Crucible redevelopment plan. It's just like calling it the Dixon district is District A, and this would be District B of this redevelopment plan.
Can you find out what happened, the set aside, the redevelopment plan? They have like a pickup of like a 5, 6 different buildings, actually 2 family houses from the height. We transfer those things to JCRA already. You remember that, right?
We transfer the property, or we just created the districts?
Now we create district, as I understand it. We transfer those abandoned building, use the eminent domain, then move to the JCRA. That's what I understand. So I'd like to see some kind of progress report, because maybe.
I thought we just added the block and lots to the map. I don't remember any transfer of properties.
Where we stand now, those buildings,
Are you talking about the overall scatter site?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't heard on that in a long time.
That's what I'm saying, because we passed all those rules, the city ordinance, but we didn't see any.
Want to bring a director in next time?
Yes.
Caucus? We'll bring Dave in.
One of the 2 family house in the Beach Street, almost a 15 years abandoned building.
64 Beach.
You know what I'm saying? All right, good, thank you.
Matt, you said what was going on with the other properties?
So what happened is that the Dixon Crucible complex was redeveloped and effectively used all the units per acre that were allowed in the redevelopment plan. So if any of these 8 other parcels wanted to do residential on their lots, it wouldn't be permitted. So they basically exhausted the residential use. And that's not really, I have not researched the transcripts and approvals for that, for those, that complex.
All of these are owned singly?
Excuse
So
me?
Each of the 8 lots here, are they all owned individually?
There's some that are condos, I believe, that are condo buildings, but I actually, off the top of my head, I do not remember.
Are you going to be at the planning board meeting tomorrow night?
I am going to be at the planning board meeting.
Sip and Bergen?
Bergen.
He never represents.
He represents the city.
I don't know what Sip and Bergen is.
Be the planner.
Is there an address?
It's the empty lot, what is it?
Oh, 10 General Square, that is Tanya Marione, who's the review planner for that application.
We have a debate tomorrow night. Will you tell Tanya to tell the Port of Authority to take a walk and mind their business and get the hell out of Jersey City?
I'll pay you
I
money.
will,
Word for word.
we communicate with them a lot. I will tell them to talk to you. Thank you, Councilman.
Keep it quick. Theme here tonight.
I hear you. You know me.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what I say.
Okay, my first item tonight is 10P.
That's a professional engineering services award to Mazer Consulting to conduct licensed site remedial professional services for underground storage tank closure at Jersey City Fire Department Engine 13 on Linden Avenue, 152 Linden Avenue.
Okay, so the history here is in 1994, we removed a oil tank at this site that was known to be leaky. The follow-through would have been to clean up the contaminated soil and perform a closure with the NJDEP. At the end of July of this year, they reached out to us and basically said they've had enough and we need to move immediately to get this done. I was able to buy us time through the end of this month, which is why we're before you now, to get an LSRP assigned to this site. That's a licensed site remediation professional. I elected to go to this firm because they were recently awarded a contract, will be in town performing that similar contract, and have extended, by nature of being here, the value of, I guess, discounted services, if you will. So we get bigger bang for our buck now that they'll be performing both of these upon your approval. But that's something that we must do to avoid fines.
Will the house be closed down?
No, the house has been active all along and won't need to be closed necessarily until we know exactly what the extent of the contamination is. So now we have to start the testing. The first step is assigning an LSRP. That will satisfy the DEP for now. And then they want to see immediately a remedial plan. So it's going to involve borings to determine the limit of the, or the extent of the contamination, and a plan to clean up and restore, and then close. They have to sign off on that. Once they sign off, we can begin that work.
Was the oil tank in the house or was it like in the backyard or like on the site?
We don't know yet because the records are so old. They go back to '94. We haven't been able to find anything other than what the DEP has on file, which is not much. We know the firm that pulled it. The firm is no longer operating as a firm. They're out of business. But we have a good feeling that we'll know where the contamination lies to its extent once we get this remedial action plan approved, which starts with this step here, getting the approval to get LSRP assigned. Okay, I have one more. 10T. Okay, I started speaking at the last meeting, and we said we were tabling it to this meeting for a few reasons. We now have all the backup needed, which I've submitted in your packets. This is relative to the Jersey City Hall Annex on MLK Drive. There was some environmental materials encountered, cleanup required, and various other unsuitable soils and debris, really, on the site, significant amount. It required a significant amount of undercut, which is the complete removal to a certain depth of the bad soils with replacement of good soils, suitable soils for building the building on them. That's correct. The landlord is Jersey City Municipal LLC.
At the end of the lease, we'll own it for $1.
We'll own it for $1.
Jersey City Municipal LLC. Now, who are they?
That's the developer.
That's the developer.
Shouldn't they be responsible for this? Not us?
According to the agreement, it's written, it's explicitly clear in there that we're responsible as tenant.
It's a standard triple net.
Make sure clear that land actually belongs to JCRA, no?
No. They own 20-25% of it, but prior to the deal, they and Brandywine, they sold it to them. And then Jersey City Municipal LLC became the owner of the property. They were able to build the project on top of it.
That's my concern is that.
If there's any common idea, it's very simple. This is a land contaminated, maybe possibly it's contaminated, right? Now, people owned by JCRA, when they change ownership to Brandywine had when the purchaser changed it, they must have it clear that if anything contaminated, JCRA should be responsible. But no. Brandywine purchased that actual blind eyes, closed that land, and the lease agreement, they say that if anything happened, City of Georgia City responsible.
Councilman, we went in We knew there was going to be an environmental issue, and we knew we were going to have to remediate it. It was always part of the plan.
And they only built the project because we asked them to build it.
Yeah,
They weren't.
to clarify, the piece of chrome that we hit, chromium waste, was not detected. It was a random piece. There was no other piece or further contamination within the site. The larger part of the soils that were replaced were just debris, footings, things that were unsuitable to build on, unforeseen items that, on a typical construction contract.
When we were doing this deal, we knew there was going to be environmental issue on this property, and we knew we were going to have to clean it up. We knew it was historic fill.
So this one is $418,000. The other one, mitigation, is a 550 gallon tank, only $28,000. It's a big difference. Because in other words, this is a wide areas contaminated. What's different?
Are you comparing that first item?
Yeah.
No, very different. The first item is just a study. This was physical work to undercut, remove, I forget the depth, a significant amount of depth of soil on the entire site. And replace.
A study course is its own, right?
Plus construction. Exactly. Right, so on the first item, I'll be coming forth with an item to award a construction contract to remediate as necessary. So that's just the study and the, technical services required to get us started.
This job done by who? It's the same brand wine company or somebody else?
Jersey City Municipal LLC, which is Brandywine, yeah.
Yeah, we did a triple net lease buyback for this, and so ultimately the property will be ours when it's over.
Make sure that they send the amount that is right. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want you to rip our pocket, the taxpayer dollars.
I worked through it multiple times. We went back and forth at least 6 times until I had everything in writing and all the pictures. There's pictures and everything in that packet. Everything's accounted for. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a conference immediately. First thing in the morning. Yeah, pursuant to our conversation just before this meeting.
Like being somebody hanging up on me when I'm presenting an issue from the neighborhood. And I will not forget that.
Yeah, just to be clear, it wasn't me.
No,
Right.
I know it wasn't you.
Okay.
Joe, you, Andrew, and I hate to say it, this guy over here has been very good.
Wait a minute.
I'm only kidding. This issue has to be solved, and it has to be solved in favor of the community. I don't give a damn about the contractor or nothing. I mean, this has been going on for 2 months. The buildings department, I've called 15, 20 times. Finally, somebody went up there last week and was not very nice to the people in the community. So, this is like, I'm being driven crazy by the people, and the people up there are correct, 100% correct.
Yes, the issues today were limited to the right-of-way. Anything in the right-of-way goes...
Kids being killed maybe because of the stupidity, and rocks like that being hurled into the street that could hit a kid in the head.
Yeah, I'll be talking to Ray about that tomorrow morning.
I mean, it's unbelievable. No, I showed him before. This is a sad situation that never should have been allowed by the city of Jersey City.
This size of rock can kill somebody, really.
Right. So just to clarify very quickly, there was a number of issues. The rocks jumping off the site are one. They were due to the mechanical braking. We'll be addressing that first thing in the morning with Ray and the construction department. As far as anything with the right-of-way and movements of traffic and blocking of the sidewalks for pedestrians, I've already put a call into the contractor. We're going to be talking first thing in the morning. As a matter of fact, just before I sat here, I missed his call, so we may be talking in a few minutes. We will fully address everything, put everything in writing to have a memorandum of understanding of how this is going to proceed going forward.
Worked out, we sit down in the neighborhood and discuss it. I mean, they've been very uncooperative for the last 4 months, 5 months, and people are tired of it.
I can assure you,
tax abatement?
I can assure you with the right-of-way issues, we're on that immediately, and I'll be talking to Ray directly about that.
So all of you over there, where are you?
Jeremy and I were there about an hour ago.
And tell Andrew on that thing with the street closing on Magnolia, had nothing to do with him. It's just that the people, word got around at the festival, and people are tired of the city coming in and doing things without notifying the residents of the blocks.
Understood.
Okay? All right, just, thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Have a good night. And yet, we're not letting Port Authority push us around either. No, I told them, they sent a significant amount of comments.
Yeah.
They're trying to get us to enforce stuff that they don't have jurisdiction.
They could build a 100-story building in New York, not worried about planes in LaGuardia and Kennedy Boulevard coming down the Hudson. But we can't build because Newark Airport's there. I mean, they're wrong. The PATH trains are horrible. They're spending billions of dollars in LaGuardia and Kennedy. What are they doing for us here? Nothing. So, that's why, and I put it on Facebook. And I hope we win, and and what they're doing in Jersey City is wrong. Journal Square, where are the police? You go to New York City, the Port Authority Terminal, there's cops all over the place. We have problems up there that are unbelievable. Where are they? So.
We are safety cities, so we don't even come.
A lot of trouble for it.
Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Steve? No, the problem is, they're trying to stop the development.
Steve has 10K, 10
Oh, 10C.
10C.
Okay. 10C.
Auction off cars.
Authorizing the city purchasing agent to sell cars at incredibly inflated prices at public auction.
The price of those cars is ridiculous. They ain't gonna sell.
Monte Carousel.
Can't we just crush it?
It's only 9 on this one. That's what we had back.
Doing it more regularly as we get the titles.
That's a lot more coming.
They probably won't sell, will they?
No, no.
Well, Attorney, can't you crush them and get money that way?
So GXR is our vendor, so they get to keep the vehicle to recoup their storage fees that they haven't been, because when we auction the property, if the car, someone actually bid on it, the GXR would get their storage fees and we would get the difference. Since no one bids on it, GXR gets to keep the vehicle. So they can crush it, sell for parts. We are looking to change the process.
What was that, Candace?
Maybe I want to pay $10,000 for a 1992 Lexus. Kidding. Oh, okay, now I definitely want it.
Are they open on Saturday and Sundays, the car pound?
Are we looking to reschedule that?
Yes, we're waiting on Marlene to do it, I think, next week sometime. And we've straightened out the issue with the money orders. So we're sending down 156 to the state tomorrow. And then the question is how long it's going to take the state to get back to us, which unfortunately we don't have much control over. So 10K is a open-ended contract for tires. This went out to bid twice. The low bidder, F&S Tires, is the one we have to give the contract to because they're the low bidder. The second bidder is a Jersey City vendor, but unfortunately didn't come in anywhere near what the low bidder did in terms of price, so we don't have much of an option. We have to stay with the low bidder.
F&S.
No.
Any questions
I
on
think
that?
that might be John, maybe.
10K? Okay. Thank you. I guess from the top.
We covered A through D and 3A through 3D. E is an ordinance amending Chapter 151, drug-free school zones of the Jersey City Municipal Code, implementing Article 3 to create a municipal alliance committee to combat drug and alcohol abuse. F is a...
This year? Is it me?
This is a later? No.
No.
I didn't hear it. You said E?
E.
Oh, the second, I'm
No.
sorry.
This was not the meeting. This was not the agenda meeting. I haven't seen it before this. Do you recall seeing this, Donna?
I gave the title, this was requested.
By me?
It had been done by executive order before. And,
I thought it was just a resolution.
well, it has to be done by ordinance because it's a standing committee of the council. So it had to be done by ordinance. It couldn't be done by resolution. You couldn't just appoint me. So we fixed it because you were looking to have it done. So we were right.
It's the first step to get you where you want to go.
Pardon?
It's the first step to take to get him where he wants to go.
Yeah, right. Because the resolution didn't work.
This is just the first step. No, we've never done this before. That's all.
Well, all the other boards and agencies that are not, super boards like the former parking authority, the incinerator authority, that are statutorily permitted, if the council wants to, I call them not lesser boards, but the rent leveling board is created by ordinance and all the rules and stuff are laid out that way.
This was created by executive order under Schindler. We went back and looked to see what had happened, and it was under Schindler, I think it was even McCann who started it, and then Schindler amended it. But it should never have been executive order because it's something that the state of New Jersey requests the city to do, and they asked the city to do it by ordinance. I actually looked at their correspondence, so then we tried to fix it, so to rescind the executive orders and to do this correctly so that people would be appointed correctly and it would exist legally. That's all.
Okay, F. 5-year tax exemption for property at 325 Pine Street. G, an ordinance granting permission to Usman Khan to allow an encroachment along the south side of Emerson Avenue and the east side of Sip Avenue for a fence as set forth within the proposed franchise area adjoining 24 Emerson Avenue. Gene O'Connell is here. Gene, can you briefly explain what happened at the planning board and why you spent $2,500 of your client's money to get this ordinance on the agenda?
Well, the first thing is I have to charge my client, which really makes me angry. But anyway, back in 2004, there was a fence along out of the survey, and there was a house. When they went in to take down the house and build a new house, they took the fence down. Once they took the fence down, they had to get a franchise ordinance because the fence was in the city right away. So I went to the planning board and met with Robert Cotter, who was then the head of the planning board, and he said there was no problem with it, that they recommended that I do it, as long as we did 6 things when we put the fence up, that we did the right landscaping, that the fence was the right material, and that the fence matched all the other fences that are on Sip Avenue side. So all these fences all exist right down Sip Avenue. We're just having a fence line, the same line that all the other homes have, and we're complying with everything that the planning board asked us to do.
All those other homes probably don't have a franchise ordinance in their fences.
They may not.
So, but we'll.
If they need it, I'm going to charge them more.
You said only because you took the fence down that you need to...
No, that's how it was discovered. But if somebody has either stoop, their steps, their fence, a front garden, if it's in the city right away, the city could go into all those homes and say, you have to get a franchise ordinance from the city. I know that for sure it was there before 2004. I have that old survey. This is about my 6th application for a franchise ordinance to the city, but I've had them up on Webster Avenue in the Heights, downtown, and also over in St. Paul's Avenue in Ward C. So I would think it's pretty prevalent.
Yeah, like the building
things are built out in the public right of way, like along High Street.
We're now going through, as people make changes and cleaning stuff up. That's why you were coming and getting a franchise ordinance, but the other owners don't. The next time they try to improve it, it'll set up a red flag and they'll have to come in and clean it up as well.
All right, thanks, have a nice day. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions on the second reading ordinances?
Yes. Chuck? What is yours? Yours is 4L?
Yes.
That's right at the corner of Grant and Kennedy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So my understanding is the demolition is completed, but I did see like, it's just a pile of boulders over there, right? So
Recently?
I just drove by it today on my way over here.
Okay.
And,
I know the house is down, they completed the demolition, and they were working on underpinning for the adjacent property.
There's a lot of rocks that pile up. It's an empty lot.
Okay, well, I'll ask my client why they're there and why they're not removed, and get back to you. Okay, thanks.
Resolutions from the top? A is the acceptance of grants and inserting them into our budget. B is celebrating the 31st pastoral anniversary of Pastor John H. McReynolds. We did see earlier. D is a resolution authorizing the risk manager to issue a certificate of insurance to Alpha Assembly Solutions. E is authorizing the city to apply for funds from the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General, Department of Law and Public Safety for the National Crime Statistics Exchange Program. F is an ordinance authorizing this resolution authorizing the Jersey City Department of Health and Human Services to accept funds from the State Department of Health and Senior Services, Division of Health Services for administering the Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program. G, authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with Hudson County in connection with a grant application for the Hudson County, Jersey City Transitional Servicing AIDS patients. H, authorizing an agreement with Avid Exchange for the new energy tracking and bill management system under state contract without public bidding. I and J were done earlier, as was K. L is authorizing a professional services contract with Eric Bernstein, actually reauthorizing it in the matter of Donna Maurer versus the City of Jersey City. M, we're ratifying the renewal and amending a professional agreement, professional services agreement with Dominic Carmagnolia of the law firm of Carmagnolia and Riccardi to represent Chief of Police, former Chief of Police Robert Troy, and other municipal employees in the matter of John Astriab, Valerie Montone v. the City of Jersey City.
Can I ask a quick question? It's a very simple question. It's like a two litigation case, right? And the sofa seems like, how much of sofa we pay total?
On each case?
Yeah, not total, both cases.
Together, well, they're very different cases. One case is about a year and a half old, a little less. In that case, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's not a significant amount of money. The other case is the Montone Austria matter, which is really the Montone matter. This is the oldest case in the state that's still open. This case is probably 15, 20 years old, 15, something like that. And in that case, so in that case, we have several attorneys because there's several named parties and they each have to have independent counsel. So I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's a significant amount of money.
So based on, what I see counsel in the allocate dollar, almost $600,000 for the lawyer fee.
I would imagine
both.
On that case alone, on Montone, we've probably spent something like that.
My next question is that I'm not going to hold on for this. Join, keep an eye that the wing. So I'm gonna make sure. So now, what kind of amount did they sue to us, City of Jersey?
On the Mauer case, I don't remember. I don't remember. It's in the low six figures. The Montone case, there's no specific number, but the last demand I think was 19 million or something like that. Million, I think.
Imagine that, Freddie.
Oh my God! But they would sell for significantly less than that. But it would be in the millions.
I see that the old, since it started from the 2009, their city council allocated almost more than $600,000 this case. It's a lot of money.
That's what happens with these litigations, and this is one of the things that comes from being a major employer, and one of the reasons why we institute so many policies and rules and regulations, because you got to do everything so that we can always defend the city. And this is one of those cases where we're defending the city, and in the end, there's always going to be a cost when we enter into a litigation. But if we win, it's a dramatic savings for the taxpayer. If we lose, as you can imagine, it's a considerable cost. So it's so important that we do everything the right way.
So the first case, you said it's not a significant amount. What do you mean, like?
It's not a seven-figure amount of money. It's. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I think that it's a low six-figure demand.
Okay. Next item, 10N.
Authorizing the extension of a professional services contract with CarePoint Health Group to conduct medical examinations of civilian and uniformed employees and of applicants for employment. O, amending a professional services agreement with Brack Eichler LLC to represent former Fire Director Armando Roman, Jerome Calla, former Chief Darren Rivers, and Stephen McGill in the matter of Constance Appella v. the City of Jersey City. This is settled, right, Bob?
Yeah, I think there's like a small bill outstanding that we just need to increase the PO amount. Yeah.
It's like $1,000+.
Yeah, it's a low amount. Yes, sir.
Because of 10N, so we're gonna pay $52,000 for the CarePoint Health Medical.
It's just to.
Only 2.5 months.
Right. The year contract is expiring, so Human Resources asked if we can extend it through the end of the year and just have a contract January to December moving in 18. They're gonna rebid it out.
Yeah, rebid it out. For the 2 months of 2.5 months course is $52,000. It's a whole lot of money.
Based on all the services that we bid out, there was a monthly cost, and that's what the number comes out to.
So yearly contract with almost $600,000, $300,000 a year.
Sounds about right.
Okay, we did P, Q, R. S, T. U, we're authorizing the execution of an agreement between the City of Jersey City and the Uniformed Firefighters Association of, can I get?
PQR.
Let him finish reading the title.
Yeah. No, he did already.
You're not getting your resolution. You're not getting your resolution. Joanne, right? No, he's not getting it.
PQR was done already by Andrew and Joe.
Yeah. But Q, Jeremy? Because when I read it, the 10Q and the 10R, they have a way we invoke that. That 1, 2, 3 pair, whereas, and we're gonna waive the 296-71, 296-72, 296-73, we're gonna waive it. Can't you explain to us why we waive, what are we waiving? Because they have no explanation for that, we're gonna waive. Yeah, 10Q. Yeah. The street closing is not, so now, when one or more of the required conditions for the street closing are not met, in other words, they want a closing for the Senator Brian's Tex, some Sampo's barbecue.
Yeah, I think that it's got to do with some of the residency requirements and things of that nature.
Yes, can we provide? And then they say event is sponsored by the non-resident. We understand that, but now we're gonna waive based on some benefit to what are they called, neighbors. You know what I'm saying? So what are we waiving, and while we waiving, what kind of benefit we're gonna be get the resident in that area? Okay? We gotta make it clear because. Okay, so I'm gonna give a paper before.
I'll go ahead and answer for you at council on Wednesday.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Keep on writing for us, it's better. Read.
Be careful. Resolution. Remember, it's only services are rented do we pay, so they don't automatically get 52,000. It's only, we send people there, do they bill us and we pay them.
Should we have the applicant come in to answer your questions on this?
Even better. Why are you laughing? It's true.
Okay, last resolution is authorizing the settlement of the lawsuit of Patrick F. Cooney III versus Vincent Alberto et al. Versus the City of Jersey City et al. Finally, we did W. X is authorizing the license agreement with the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency to authorize the installation of various Jersey City bike share kiosks in Berry Lane Park. Wait, 1 second. Tell me the time. Wait. We have a motion to adjourn at 6:45 by Councilperson Waterman, seconded by Councilperson Osborne. Everyone is saying goodnight except Mr. Rivera, who's been absent tonight. Thank you. Thank you.